The last county final St Anne's won was in 2000, 21 years ago, when they bet Outlet the Balloch. This Sunday they'll be looking to reclaim that victory when they play the Raps. Manager David O'Connor was actually playing on that 2000 team.
Really was only a chap and it was a different time. The county final I think was up in Belfield, which was it felt like it was packed to capacity anyway. There was 8,000 or 9,000 at the match, and there was a huge interest in it because of the circumstances of the win, and it was totally different. I guess the championship, as I remember it, was a knockout championship, and it was pretty much week on, week off, and I think we got a 2-week run into the hurling final and the football final, which we just weren't used to, and we didn't cope with it very well. I think we ended up 7 or 8 points down, and as I recall, I think Darren Stamp had a chance to finish the game off, and Fred made a great save, and we just got going then in the second half, and I think got back at Outlet and got ahead of them, I suppose, at the final whistle. And it's probably easy for me to recount that because it's the only one we've won, so it's not like we've a whole pile of ones to talk about winning, but it was a great time, in fairness, and it's nice to be back in the final.
At 19, you kind of think the county final wins are going to come around all the time.
That's why you appreciate them a little bit more as you get older. You just get mature a little bit, and they do mean more maybe. So as you say, back to those days, there's very little, like it was gone by in a blur. Very little you remember, but one standout thing from it was we were going in at half time against Owlert, and there was a shout just as I was going in up in Belfield, going in between the two stands there or whatever into the dressing rooms, and it was stick to the football. So that's my abiding memory from 2000 RH. Yeah.
You're the main sponsor of the club here.
Back in 2000, my dad was kind of at the helm in the company, and we were the main sponsors back then as well. So I hope that maybe that might bring something to the match on Sunday again, that we're back again as main sponsors. But look at from a main sponsor point of view, personally, we don't do it for anything other than it's something to give back to the club.
It must be great even for the underage in the club to see you getting to the top, I suppose, and competing up there.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like I said, it's a small enough parish here, and everyone kind of gets involved when we get to something like that. I think I remember back in 2012 when we had to go to the football final, a couple of the players here, I think Liam Shockman maybe, were actually mascots that day, and I remember myself, I was actually mascot back in 2000, and it definitely is something you remember as a young lad, maybe doing the parade or just being involved in the parish and in the school when the senior team is getting to county finals, and it definitely leaves a mark on the younger players. Yeah.
Reflecting on last week's game, you must be absolutely thrilled with the performance, and I suppose the resilience that the lads showed as well, going down to 14 players after 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of these things that you talk about the theory of a guy getting sent off and what are you going to do, and to play essentially the whole game with 14 men probably isn't something we expected, but look, it happened, and the lads on the field took responsibility and quickly adjusted, and made it into a battle really. And I'd say maybe the conditions helped us in a sense, because the ball wasn't travelling as smoothly as it might have travelled on a dry day, and that maybe played into our hands a little bit. And then obviously when you have a team like the Shells, who would have been favourites to win the game, and they just couldn't get their noses in front, all those things tend to close in on you at the end of the game when you're chasing it as county champions, trying to do 2 in a row and so on. So I suppose even though we had the man sent off, there probably was a lot of things that maybe fell in our favour, because of the circumstances and because of the conditions and because of the pressure the Shells might have been under.
There's a very quick turnaround county final now next Sunday.
Yeah, it's been from game to game every weekend, so no time to celebrate it all really. You're just trying to get recovery into the body and get ready for the next game. It looks the same for everyone, so I don't think there's too many lads complaining about the format of the championship. If you can hold up and you avoid injury, all well and good, and if you get a few injuries, it's a bit of hard luck to you, but everyone is in the same boat, so I think I'm happy with it anyway.
Small parishes do tend to have quite tight bonds as well. There must be a great buzz around the place.
There is, yeah, and you'd see it, like the bigger parishes sometimes don't knit as well as the smaller ones, and we've one school in the parish. Other clubs, bigger clubs, might have a split. Maybe that's something that's a bonus for our club, but everyone knows everyone. Whenever there's something going on up here, people that are not involved directly with the senior panel or our teams are all up here, and it is really, there's a lot of pride. Everyone has a lot of pride in the club up here, and it's really visible.
The last 2 years have been something that none of us ever expected, And I think that the last maybe 2 months has showed the importance of this organisation to the community in Ireland, and how important it is for clubs and that to be well organised, and to be out competing, and even if you're not winning, just to have people going to your games. I think the demand for tickets, for the earlier games, the amount of people that are going to the junior games, it's all really good and positive, and it just shows how important the community is, and the GAA is in that community. And like the senior thing is the cherry on the top, I suppose, in terms of the profile and all that. But I just noticed this summer, and even last summer, the interest in lads in playing the game and getting out and being active is huge. And I think that's, I suppose, it's a weird benefit of the pandemic that has kept people at home from different things, but it's really heightened the sense of community around the place.
What does it mean to you, I suppose, to captain the Ans to a county final and maybe win the first one that you've won in 21 years?
Yeah, Asher, look, it'd be fantastic, really. We've been in 2 county finals. Myself, I've been in 2 county finals, probably over 10 years going at it. We've been relegated in the meantime as well and come back up from intermediate. So maybe the younger lads mightn't appreciate it, especially their first year at it. They mightn't really appreciate it, but definitely for myself and a number of other lads that have been there over 10 years, it really does mean something special to be able to get back there, and we really would love to get over the line.